Hello everybody and welcome back to the next episode of our Motorsport Manager career mode here, using the ICE mod, the real world mod for this game, managing Force India. Now, it's a bit of a strange situation at the moment because for you it's been a week since the last episode. For me, the last time I recorded an episode of this was 2 months ago. Basically, I recorded everything you've seen so far was recorded before I took kind of about a month off from recording anything, and then I just haven't got round the time to record more of this game. So yeah, if it seems like I'm trying to catch up on things, or if it seems like I'm not quite playing it the same way as I have in the last few episodes, that explains why. It's been 2 months since I played this game. I think there have been a couple of patches, nothing major, so it's not like there's massive changes around, but there may be a few things I just need to catch up on. So I do apologise if it looks like I've got no idea what I'm doing. But when we last left off, let's go with that. It was in Tondela where we scored a very good result. Sergio Perez was 4th, and Esteban Ocon was 10th, carrying on his good form this season. And generally, overall, we've had a really good season so far. If we have a look at the standings, in the Team Championship, we are currently 4th. So we're ahead of Williams, ahead of McLaren, ahead of Renault. Most of the big names above us, of course. Williams probably being the only team you'd expect to be ahead of us at the moment, but we're managing to beat them for now. Perez is 6th in the Drivers' Championship, which is really good, ahead of the likes of, Alonso, Massa, even Sebastian Vettel, who's had a really poor season so far. He's right down there in 9th place. Esteban Ocon in 12th place with 8 points. Doesn't seem like a great total, but considering it's only his first full season of Formula 1 and the first season with the team, I think he's doing rather well. So I'm really impressed with the team and how things are going. Now, the only things I'm not too sure on in terms of, because it's been so long, is where we are with our car. So we'll have a look. We are doing the South African Grand Prix, the Cape Town Grand Prix. I'm going to go with Oris as our sponsor, 11th or above. Probably we can... In fact, no, let's go for 8th or above. I feel like, based on the form in the last few races, we probably have enough to finish 8th or above, so we'll go with that. Tyre selection, I'm going to go with quite a few sets of Ultra Softs and Super Softs for both. I think I'll do a couple more sets of Ultra Softs, and then a couple of sets of... In fact, we'll have one less Super Soft and one more soft. It's expected to rain in practice, which will be good. We can save some tyres. But then we have plenty of Ultra Softs for qualifying. Actually, I might take one set of Ultra Softs off and have another set of soft tyres. We do rather well on the hardest compound of tyres, so I feel like bringing some of them will be useful. In terms of part fitting, again, just need to have a double check to make sure we have the best parts on board, because I'm not quite sure where we are. We have another part there, 61% reliability. I think we're going to risk it, and I'll give it to Sergio Perez, of course, our #1 driver. Same with this front wing, not the best part, but it's worth risking it, I think. Doesn't look like there are any more parts that are better than what we've got, so we'll go with that for now. Looking pretty good, to be honest, on these parts. Obviously, a lot more we can still improve, but not looking too bad at all. So I think that's everything I need to do. As always with this series, I will go off and do practice and qualifying, rejoin you for the race, and give you a recap of what's been going on. So I will see you for the South African Grand Prix in just 1 second. So here we are, ready for the start of the South African Grand Prix. I'll go through what's happened in qualifying and practice in just a moment. We are going to set the knowledge. Not quite gone as well as I would have hoped. There was a lot of rain in practice. There were 2 sessions, so 2 sections of rain which really interrupted the session. So we didn't quite manage to do everything I wanted to get done, but we've done alright. And as you can see, the setup mostly alright, could have been better, but I don't want to really mess with it now. I just feel like that's going to mess things up. And as always, we tell them to attack right from the start, try and get as many positions off the start as we can. I do need to go to car setup though, because actually I'll show you the grid now. So Sebastian Vettel took pole with Lewis Hamilton 2nd, Valtteri Bottas 3rd, and Kimi Raikkonen 4th. Perez managed to qualify 6th, so managed to meet our sponsor objective of finishing above 8th. So we got a nice little cash flow from that. Unfortunately though, once again, very poor session from Esteban Ocon. Back down in 16th place. His qualifying doesn't seem to be his strong suit basically at the moment. We've had the last few races, he's had disappointing qualifying, so we have to start him from the back once again. So as I said, we are going to change his setup, and what we're going to do is, because he's saved all his Ultra Softs, of which I've got quite a lot, we're going to start him on a set of Softs, which is obviously the slowest of the tyres, but also the hardest of the tyres, and try and make him run for as long as he can, and then towards the end get very aggressive, maybe even do a 2-stop and set sort of 2 different sets of Ultra Softs on, and let him just go as fast as he possibly can. I feel like that might work quite well. Let him be really aggressive. Obviously, we can't change the tyres for Sergio Perez, but he has, I think, used all his Ultra Soft tyres in qualifying. I simulated qualifying. I always simulate qualifying because I'm not very good at it, basically. So yeah, I don't think he has many ultra softs left, so we're going to have to think about his strategy. I think it may be a case of running those for as long as we can, and then going for maybe 2 sets of softs, or hopefully just 1 set of softs, but we shall have to see. So we'll get straight into the race, no point blabbing about it. We'll get straight in there. So we are starting from 6th, as I said. Going to be an exciting race, I hope. 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and we're off. Good start by Sergio Perez, manages to hold position, actually gains a couple here. Up to 4th place, really good start for Sergio Perez. Managed to get past, I think it was Bottas with the slow starts. Gets hung out to dry on the inside. Roman Grosjean has come up to 5th place. Where the heck did he come from? Okay, fair enough. I'm going to speed it up. I always forget to speed it up at the start. It's up to 4th place, Roman Grosjean. I'm not sure what he's doing. We got hung out again. Managed to get past him now, which is really important because he is on soft tyres. So if he held us up there, that would be going to be devastating for our race. Ocon not really making much progress back there, which is a bit annoying. And in fact, straight away, we're going to turn him to push and high rather than attack. We want to save those tyres for as long as we can. We're going to keep Perez pushing nice and hard at the moment, just to try and gain some positions. We're going to turn it down now to neutral, just to make sure we don't wear his tyres out too quickly, so we can go as deep into the race as possible. But Ocon needs to preserve those tyres for as long as he can. If we can get to sort of, not half distance, I think that's a bit optimistic, as he loses some places there. Not having a good weekend, Ocon, down to 18th place. Really disappointing, with Perez up in 4th place. You know, we got a 4th place finish last time. We had a podium the race before that. So if we can keep this run of form going, we're looking really good in the championship to finish nice and high up on the table. But we just need to hold this position for now. He's not going to be able to catch the cars ahead, I don't think. They're obviously faster cars in general. But if we can hold on to what we have, that'd be really good. I believe it's set. Okay, it's not set automatically. I'll set them to use their battery when they feel like it. I don't feel like I should be taking charge of that. We've dropped off about 5 seconds from Lewis Hamilton, which is a bit disappointing that we are that slow. Ocon not making much progress either. Now look at him now. Lots of cars in front of him. Does actually overtake just as we switch to him. Lots of cars to battle with though, so he's not going to be able to make much progress. And of course, battling away like this isn't helping his tyre life at all. Got a lot of laps to go. 64 laps. Quite a short lap, I think. Pole lap, it said, was about 1 minute 7 seconds or something like that. So not a long lap at all. No rain expected, I believe. So not going to have to worry about that. Ocon finally making a little bit of progress, up to 15th place. Good move actually that round, Carlos Sainz Jr. Round the outside of him. Going to have to keep an eye on Perez's tyres. He's been caught by Daniel Ricciardo. He's pushing on his fuel a bit, which might explain why. Of course, as I said, we're not the fastest car on the grid. Red Bull cars are technically stronger than ours, but Verstappen, where's Verstappen? Stuck in 9th place, had a really poor start. Alonso and Stroll having really good starts to get up to 6th and 7th. But we just need to, as I said, hold this position for as long as we can. The longer we go in the race in 4th place, the better. So if we can hold Ricciardo up. And we're going to try and use Ocon basically as a sort of barrier later on in the race to try and block some of the faster cars. He loses a couple of places there. Really poor driving there, actually. Ocon got caught on the outside and lost 2 places. But we're hoping to use the cars around us and Esteban Ocon as kind of a barrier to the cars ahead to try and slow down these guys as they pit. To try and maybe either extend the gap behind us or maybe slow down the cars in front. I don't think we're close enough to be able to slow down someone like Lewis Hamilton. But if we can get Ocon to be ahead of, say, Lance Stroll, then he can do a useful job for us and just slow the pack down a little bit. He's not looking likely to get a points finish at the moment, not having the best of races. We'll see how his strategy comes around towards the end, but I don't think he's looking at points finishes. So if we can use him as a buffer for his teammate, if we can use him strategically, then that's going to be really helpful. But we'll have to see how the race progresses. Loses another place there to Magnussen. Can he get it back in the next corner? Running side by side all the way down the track there. Good move by Ocon to get back past Magnussen. Jump back to Perez, who is building a slight gap over Ricciardo. Not a huge one, but enough that it looks a bit more comfortable than it did at one point. We're going to turn Ocon's engine down, and his tyres, in fact, because he is pushing them quite hard. And I want to make them last a little bit longer than they are doing. These Ultra Softs lasting really well, actually. I kind of thought everyone would have had to pit by now, but we're holding on for now. We might go for the undercut here, actually. I'll see how they are towards the end of this lap, but they are slowly getting to the point where they're a bit useless. Ocon loses a place to Magnussen, having a really good scrap with him there. You know, it's nice to see Ocon battling with cars, but at the same time, really could do with him making some more progress. But he is showing that he's a competent driver with these overtakes. Well, I say that, and then he drops down to 17th. We are going to pit this lap with Perez. I think it's the right time. We're going to go for a set of softs. We're going to go for a balanced pit stop. I don't want to go for a fast one and end up losing too many positions. So we'll go for a set of softs. In fact, a few cars behind us have pitted already. I think. Oh no, never mind. They were just on the map. We did actually lose our place to Ricciardo there, which is a bit annoying. He's now holding us up slightly actually there, which is really annoying. Going to go to attack and overtake as we come into the pits, just to use the last of these tyres up before we pit. We'll stay attack and overtake when we come out. Try and make some use of these fresh tyres as we leave the pits. Good pit stop there, didn't lose too much time, and came out importantly into clear air. We've got some clear air between us and Verstappen, and of course he will have to pit soon for new tyres anyway. So pretty good pit stop there, pretty good strategy actually. I really wasn't planning it that intently, but managed to find some clear space, which is useful to try and gain some time on these slower cars ahead. Oh, there's a very slow car there coming into the pits. That might be Bottas. Don't know if he had damage or his tyres were just that warm, but he's really slow there. As my voice breaks for some reason. But actually, we're looking really good. Kimi Raikkonen not too far ahead, and Daniel Ricciardo not too far ahead. We are going to have to turn all our engine and driver style down soon. In fact, Raikkonen, their tyres have just completely gone. That's the problem. It's not they're having car issues. They're just so slow on these tyres. And we managed to actually may have made this work quite well now, because Perez, although he's a bit stuck now behind Verstappen, Verstappen will have to pit very soon. In fact, we might even just overtake him on track. We've gained a huge advantage over the cars ahead by pitting before. Hamilton's into the pits. We're not going to catch it, or are we, actually? Just come out behind Lewis Hamilton. That shows what an advantage we got. We were about 17 seconds behind him, but we managed to close all the way up to him. We're going to have to turn our engine and driver style down a bit. We don't want to waste too much fuel, and we want these tyres to last a little bit longer into the race. But we should be able to catch Daniel Ricciardo at the pit stops. Challenging Verstappen here. Ricciardo is in the pits, and we do manage to get ahead of him. But Verstappen is slowing us down. We managed to go around the outside of him, though. Really good move by Sergio Perez. Not that I'm surprised at all. Ocon with the pit stops has managed to move up to 12th, so he's not quite managed to hold anyone up yet, and I don't think he'll be able to hold up Verstappen or anyone, so that hasn't quite worked out in our favour. But he's still going fairly well, managing to hold position, just dropping slightly away from Magnussen, which is a bit concerning, but going well so far. We're in 3rd place with Perez, so that we'll have to tell him to push a bit more. His tyres are very cold, but taking that early pit stop, getting the undercut on the guys ahead has really helped Perez here. I don't expect we'll keep 3rd place, but if we can get a 4th place finish, that'd be brilliant. There's a big gap now between us and Grosjean, who needs to pit. So the next car that's really battling with us would be Bottas, and he is quite some distance behind Perez, about, I think that's 14 seconds behind him. So a good gap to build, and Ocon slowly making some positions up still as more and more cars pit. But he is going to have to think about a pit stop soon, which will drop him back down the grid, of course. We did lose that 3rd place to Ricciardo. Ricciardo pushing like hell at the moment, so really wasn't much chance to hold him. I don't want to push too hard and battle too hard and end up costing us a good position. We could go for a podium place, but at the same time I don't want to take too many risks and, you know, cost us what will be a very useful sort of slab of points. As our tyres are probably the most worn of anyone, because we did pit first, of course. But Ocon still at 11th place, tyres holding out for maybe a couple more laps, hopefully. And he's got some guys around him who also need to pit. Magnussen, Kvyat, Grosjean will need to pit, so might try the same again and try and undercut him. Do we have a gap anywhere? There is a gap between 17th and 18th place, but I'm not sure if we'd be able to squeeze him out. We're going to tell him to an attack and overtake for this last lap, and then pit him for some ultra softs maybe? I'm not quite sure on the exact strategy we're going for here, to be honest. I've not really thought about it too much. We're just kind of going on the fly. He's challenging Magnussen though with his engine turned up, so we do have a competitive car in there somewhere, but not quite showing it. I think we're going to go for a set of ultra softs and let him really push and let him try and I'm going to go for a fast pit stop as well, actually. Really try and let him thrash the car a little bit, see if he can make up any positions, and then maybe go for another set of softs at the end. We're going to keep him on attack and overtake to try and get the most we can out of these tyres. It is a good pit stop. Do we manage to come out in that gap? Yes, we do, actually. Ahead of 17th place, between 14th and 17th. So again, worked out really well. Got our driver out into some space on some fresh tyres. Perez being slightly caught now by Bottas, but that was kind of to be expected, really. Only problem now, Ocon is caught up with Magnus Ericsson too quickly and is now being held up slightly. But we're going to keep him attacking, because with these tyres aren't going to last long, but if we can make up some positions, the next pit stop hopefully will go really well for him. We'll probably have to come on to some softs and probably go till the end, hopefully. And I think we may do the same with Perez. If we can try and get him to the point where another set of softs will get him to the end, that'd be brilliant. Cut out the risk of pit stops. I have to tell him to push slightly on tyres because, as I said, Bottas is hauling him in. Bottas seems to be, yeah, he's pushing very hard on his engine. Stuck behind Van Dorn slightly here, which is a bit annoying, but hopefully he can dispatch him quite quickly. And he manages to get 2 positions there, actually. Managed to get past... Oh, actually, I think he was overlapping someone there, possibly. So who hasn't pitted yet? Magnussen hasn't pitted, Kvyat hasn't pitted, and Grosjean hasn't pitted. Van Dorn hasn't pitted either, but he's behind us now anyway. So we're going to keep Ocon pushing. We're going to have to turn his engine down, though, because otherwise we're going to be full fuel saving towards the end. And I'm going to tell him to go neutral on his tyres because they are overheating. So they're not going to get as much of an advantage as we could be doing. But we managed to catch up with Alonso here, who has pitted as well, and we were some way behind, I believe, before the pit stops. So hopefully this works out quite well. Of course, we're going to have to pit before everyone else, and some of these guys will be one-stopping, so we may be stuck behind them, but we should be able to then get to the end on a set of softs for both drivers and let them sort of cruise around quite comfortably and just protect the cars. Perez here still going really well. 4th place, has dropped off Ricciardo quite a lot. About 5 seconds he's dropped off, although maybe he's holding him slightly. Not really. But he's managed to warm up his tyres as well, which is what we wanted, to get some more performance in them. Bottas still closing us down, though. He is very slowly reducing the gap, but I think Bottas will have to pit again as well. If you have a look, our tyres are very similar to Bottas and Raikkonen, and Stroll even. Stroll's worn his tyres out quite quickly. The guys ahead doing a slightly better job, but of course they're not battling with each other or fighting through traffic, so they have the slight advantage in terms of that. Ocon, though, still doing really well. Managed to get past Kvyat there, who hasn't pitted, actually. So if we can play our cards right, oh, is Kvyat in the pits? Yeah, okay, he just pitted for some super soft, so he is going to have to pit again, definitely. So we may have jumped quite a few drivers here, actually, if we keep playing our cards right. And I said Ocon wasn't on for a points finish, but he keeps up this record. He could be in for a 10th place finish if we can manage to go. Grosjean has pitted and finished ahead of us, though, so possibly not. But if he can finish 11th, I'd still consider that a decent result for Ocon, considering where he qualified. Perez being held up in traffic, it looks like. He has lost quite a bit of time there to Ricciardo. I lost about 3 seconds, I think, to Ricciardo, just from trying to overlap these guys. It was Carlos Sainz again. Carlos Sainz and me on this career mode, we're not getting on at all well. So how long do the soft tyres last for? 36 laps, so we could definitely get to the end on some soft tyres. So we'll just push these as far as we can, so otherwise we're going to have to do a lot of tyre saving. So the further we can go on this set, the better. We have a load of traffic ahead of us, though. That's the problem we have at the moment. Ocon will need to pit again soon as well. And if you can try and challenge Alonso a little bit, that'd be really good news for us, because it means they'll be challenging each other when they come out the pits. So that'd be useful for us. As Perez still catching up to that traffic, but not too quickly. So don't think he's going to be held up too badly. And of course Bottas has to go through the same traffic, so it's not like we're losing too much on him. We are going to have to think about a pit stop soon. 35% tyre life. Blue flag's out for, I believe it's Pascal Wehrlein. Yeah, Pascal Wehrlein. Who is not obeying them at all. Thank you, finally. And then Carlos Sainz. We finally get past Wehrlein under blue flags, and then he uses his battery power to get past him and then holds us up. And he's probably not going to let us through easily. Oh, he does actually. Stays on the outside. And they swap positions again, so not quite sure why they thought that was necessary, because they've ended up in the same positions. We're now coming up behind Magnussen. Ocon's tyres 30% tyre life. In fact, both drivers on 30%. He has just been overlapped by Sebastian Vettel. So we're going to have to be looking for a gap here again. There's a gap between 20th and 7th in terms of a nice open track. In fact, let's try and get Perez out into there if we can. Might not work, but it's worth a try. We're going to go for a balanced pit stop again. I don't want to risk it too much. We are going to bring him in this lap. Full attack and overtake again. Try and clear this traffic and then get into the pits. Ocon, I think I'll leave out now. Ocon needs to pit this lap as well. His tyres have pretty much gone. But for him, we'll go for a fast pit stop, because it doesn't matter too much if his goes wrong, because he won't necessarily have lost too much time. Can we get out into some clearer? It's a bad pit stop. Oh no, come on. Get him out. Managed to get him out finally. But I'm hoping that didn't wreck Ocon's pit stop as well. So we have lost a lot of time there. We're behind. Who's that in front of us? It's Lance Stroll. So we are now racing for position. I'm going to turn everything down. In fact, no, he can have high engine mode and probably push on tyres for now. But I don't want to waste these tyres at all. So we are stuck behind Lance Stroll. That was such a disastrous pit stop. I think Ocon actually got a good pit stop, which is even more annoying that he managed to get the good one. He's come out in 13th place as well. Really good, actually, pit stop there to get him out quite quickly. And he's not too far behind some of the cars that still need to pit. But Perez being held up by Lance Stroll here. This is so annoying. We're on for a definite 4th place finish, and now probably looking at maybe 6th place, with Raikkonen and Bottas now ahead. Can he get past Lance Stroll here? Not quite. Oh, he does actually manage to. Going to leave him on attack and overtake, try and build a little bit of gap so Lance Stroll can't come straight back. In fact, it doesn't look like he's going to, so we'll go neutral and probably high fuel load instead. Neutral and high for Ocon as well. So Perez in 6th place now. Cars ahead still need to pit, of course, but we're now 14 seconds behind Raikkonen and 22 seconds behind Bottas. That's how much it cost us, which is really frustrating. Ocon now right up, it looks like, behind Hulkenberg. So those pit stops, in fact, he's overtaken Hulkenberg, sorry. So those pit stops worked really well. We've actually managed to gain quite a lot with Ocon there. Not too far behind 11th and 10th, so I think Ocon in the points is a definite at the moment. Stroll has pitted straight after we overtook him. Gone for some super soft tyres, interestingly. So those might not be the best condition towards the end of the race, but Ocon here could be on for a points finish. Perez now, Raikkonen in the pits, managed to jump Raikkonen, but he's on fresher tyres, and he's gone for super soft as well. So I guess that's kind of what everyone's doing, coming out on super softs. He's caught right up to us. I don't think we're going to be able to hold him off at all. But the longer we can hold him up, the better. But I don't think it's going to happen. He will get round us at some point. In fact, there he goes, straight round us. Oh, that pit stop's completely ruined our race. That's the problem. It's frustrating. It happens, and, you know, I did risk it with going balanced instead of safe, but, you know, I thought it's worth the risk. Turns out it wasn't. Ocon's with a fast pit stop was worth the risk. In fact, how have both his fast pit stops gone well, but his balanced pit stop didn't? That just makes no sense. So our only real threat at the moment is Perez and Stroll, but Stroll is quite some distance behind and stuck in traffic behind Sebastian Vettel now. He's been overlapped. I mean, we'll be overlapped by Sebastian Vettel soon enough as well. Perez saying he might have an issue with his engine. 28%. Should be fine for another, I think that's 17 laps. I can't do maths. But we are right up behind some traffic here with Perez. Ocon still in some clear air. Needs to turn his engine down though. He's used a lot of fuel. I didn't quite notice that, to be honest. Whoops. We can turn Perez's engine up though, and we're going to for now, just to try and build some gaps. Get past that traffic he's in. And hopefully gain some time on the cars ahead. Try and jump maybe Ricciardo at the pit stop, but I don't think it's going to happen. In fact, no, it's definitely not going to happen. That's really unfortunate. But possibly Ocon still has some positions to gain. Managed to get past Alonso, who is now on ultra soft tyres, actually, I've just noticed, which is scary to say the least, that he will be coming up behind us on ultra soft tyres, but we'll see how long we can hold this position for. Still got Massa ahead who needs to pit, and not too far ahead of us. He may come in this lap. Possibly. No, he doesn't quite. We are ahead of Hamilton, though, at the moment, so maybe we might hold him up a little bit. Not that it helps us at all. I think we've kind of settled into our positions at the moment. It's looking likely that it's going to be a 6th place for Perez and an 11th place for Ocon, which, you know, not a bad result at all, but considering what it could have been, you know, possibly a 9th place and a 4th place, which would have been excellent. But we kind of have to take what we can get with this team. We're not the best team in the division. In the division? I meant to say in the series. So to be finishing consistently near the podium or on the podium is really good for us. Vettel now in the pit, so we don't have to worry about him overlapping us just yet. Ocon using his battery there to try and keep ahead of Alonso, but it's not going to happen. Alonso on ultra soft tyres is going to get past us, but we are right behind Massa, who still needs to pit. Verstappen needs to pit. I'm not quite sure how ahead he is. Quite far ahead, so I don't think that's going to happen. Perez complaining about tyre temperatures. We're going to tell them both to push, because both of them have low tyre temperatures. The tyres should last to the end of the race now. In fact, we'll tell them to go higher fuel load as well, just for now, to try and hold their gaps to the cars behind. I mean, Ocon doesn't really have anyone behind that's a threat, but he still has a chance to gain a couple of positions. Massa, Verstappen and Grosjean. Don't think he'll be able to catch Grosjean, but Verstappen's actually a possibility, so he still may get a 10th place with Esteban Ocon, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see how Verstappen does on his pit stop. We are stuck behind Alonso though. Massa has pitted, come out on ultra softs as well, but he is a fair distance behind. He'll probably catch us up quite quickly, but he's still a little bit of a gap. Ocon's used too much fuel. We'll turn it back down. Turn Perez's engine down. We'll save the fuel till the end if we need to really, you know, keep our gap. We'll follow Ocon, I think, for the rest of the race. Perez basically in a race of his own. It's just about dealing with traffic, so not really anything interesting, but Ocon has a chance here at some points if you can keep this performance up. Still got Verstappen and Grosjean, as I said, to pit. And the gap, not... I mean, 10 seconds to Verstappen, we should be able to jump him. Grosjean, 12 seconds, so we'll definitely be able to jump both of them when they pit. I mean, I'm presuming they're going to pit. They've got 8 laps left and no tyres, so either they're going to pit and we jump them, or they're going to be extremely slow and we just overtake them on track. So either way, could be on for a potential 10th place finish here, maybe a 9th place if we're lucky. Do have to deal with these cars overlapping us though, and they've cost us a position to Massa. Thanks very much. So when our drivers come up behind back markers, they hold us up for laps and laps. But when they come up behind me, I just lose positions. We haven't managed to jump Verstappen because of those overlapping us. So we've lost out on a points finish here, thanks to Ricciardo and Bottas. And to be fair, Ricciardo wasn't very generous there. He kind of pushed us off track just to overlap us, which seems a bit silly, but it's cost us positions here, so we're not going to get a points finish. I don't think we're going to be able to catch Grosjean now. I was maybe a bit optimistic there, but for a moment it looked like we could do it. We've got lots of fuel. I don't know where this fuel is coming from, to be honest, but we're going to turn them both their engines up high. They can probably get to the end of the race with a high engine mode. I mean, hopefully these lot will squabble ahead of us and maybe give us a chance, but they are on ultra soft tyres, so even if we close up and manage to overtake, they'll probably just get us straight back. So doesn't look like a points finish is likely at all for Ocon. Perez, though, still in 6th place. Very comfortable. They are complaining about their car condition a little bit, but very comfortable 6th place for Perez. But it could have been a comfortable 5th place or 4th place. So it's slightly frustrating, but at the same time, I will take it. 6th place is still a decent result for our team, and it completes the sponsor objective, so I get another nice cash flow which can improve the car. So overall, it's been a pretty good race. In fact, Ocon has gained a position, actually. He's managed to overtake Massa. Not quite sure how he's done that, but he's managed to, and he's right behind Grosjean now. But Grosjean, with the freshest tyres, I think, of anyone on the grid, apart from Magnussen in 15th. But hopefully if they keep squabbling, there is an opportunity. I doubt it, but worth a try, worth to see what happens. We have got a back marker now to go past, which is annoying to say the least. But I think Massa's looking like he's going to overtake us again, which is annoying. In fact, his second to last lap, we're going to tell him to go overtake on his engine. Same with Perez. See if we can just gain something. I'm not quite sure why. In fact, we're going to tell Perez to attack on his tyres as well. He's managed to hold them quite well. And Ocon. No point having any tyre life left at the end. And they're not... You know, if Ocon finishes 12th, it's where we expect him to finish. So it's not like he's lost anything. And there is a chance he could gain a position if things go wrong for cars ahead. So we're going to follow Ocon, as I said, for this last lap as he tries to close down on Grosjean. I'm going to tell him to use his battery as well. There's no point keeping it. Close right up behind Grosjean, but he's using his battery as well, so pretty sure that's race over at the moment. Perez not quite finished yet. Ocon, he's run out of fuel. I didn't see the fuel meter, but as I said, he was going to finish 12th anyway. So that is the end of the race. I know that ended very suddenly because lots of cars were overlapped, so it was a bit confusing to follow who was on what lap. But we have managed to finish 6th place with Sergio Perez and 12th at the end for Ocon because I didn't realise he'd run out of fuel, which was a bit silly of me. But that's how it goes sometimes. So if you have a look at the result, Sebastian Vettel won the race with a 2-stop strategy. I think most people did a 2-stop, except for Van Dorn, who did a 1-stop, but he finished quite far down the grid. So Sebastian Vettel in 1st, Lewis Hamilton 2nd, Valtteri Bottas in 3rd, Daniel Ricciardo 4th, Kimi Räikkönen 5th, Sergio Perez in 6th place, Lance Stroll in 7th, Max Verstappen 8th, Romain Grosjean 9th, and Fernando Alonso picking up a point for McLaren in 10th place. Esteban Ocon just behind Massa when he ran out of fuel at the end, which is a bit annoying, but it's how it goes sometimes. So have a look at scrutineering. I don't think we have any dodgy parts on our car. No, we haven't, so that's good. Has anyone else? That's the key question. No, still everyone sticking to the rules, it looks like, so fair enough. So in terms of the drivers, we do drop to 7th place because obviously Vettel won the race, so he jumps into 6th. Ocon stays 12th, which isn't bad at all. In terms of teams, we managed to keep 4th place, pull a little way ahead of Williams because Massa didn't get a point that race, and we finished ahead of Lance Stroll. So we have a 3-point gap to Williams and quite a large gap really to Red Bull Racing. So we'll just check any news and any interviews we have to do, and then we'll wrap the episode up there. It's been a positive episode, apart from a dodgy pit stop which cost us 4th. I think overall that was a good race. Some decent strategy calls. The first pit stop I think for Perez worked so well because managed to drop him into some space. I wasn't paying attention to that. Don't think that was some strategic masterclass. That was pure luck, to be honest. That there were no cars there, so we managed to drop him into some space, which let him really push the car as hard as he could, which managed to gain him a couple of positions and a few times, but then that second poor pit stop cost us. Doesn't look like he's unhappy about that though, which is good. Everyone looking happy. Alfonso Celis still not had a chance in the car. I'm hoping to maybe give him a practice session at some point. VJ Malia happy with us though, which is always the most important thing. And our marketability increases as well, which is lovely. So we managed to gain £2 million there, nearly £3 million, to go towards the team, which can then be spent on the car or facilities, which is brilliant. Some updates from IndyCar, if you're interested, it's all there. And from Formula E as well. I tend not to look at these, to be honest. I'm not that interested in anything but Formula 1 on this game. So, that sounded really bad. We have an interview with Eurosport with Jonathan Edwards. We'll do that interview now. Simple question, which of your drivers is better? I'm not answering that. Why would I answer? Wow, okay. That lowered our marketability by 10% because I wouldn't upset one of my drivers. Well, I'm not doing an interview with Eurosport again, am I? So that's going to wrap this episode up now with that very negative interview. I don't like you anymore, Jonathan Edwards, I've decided. So the next race will be in Canada, which will be an interesting race. I think it is not quite the same as the actual Grand Prix, but high-speed corners, medium-speed corners, and top speed are all important. So I will rejoin you there. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do feel free to leave a like. It's not necessary, but it is always appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.